We really honor his spirit in the spiritual world, and we say thank you for our ancestors and the people who connect us in our humanity. And we were very, very fortunate to have Corinne to curate these prints that he made. They're all on display on the side here. And if you are interested, also his beadwork. If you smell his beadwork, you'll smell his hands, you'll smell the fire from which came from within him. You'll smell who you come from, and I challenge you to do that. It's on display, it's here. And he died on Freedom Day this year, 27th of April, and that was very significant for us because the Khoisan people have been a very neglected, marginalized people, yet a people of world significance because we are all Khoisan. So over to Corinne, my sister, just to say something in honor of Manuel Masseka.
Hello. As a South African, I just want to applaud what a wonderful artist Masseka was. His work is absolutely beautiful. I got very entranced by his work and wanted to do more and more, and I would love for people to buy his work and to honour his name and to do more in his honour. So that's the essence of what we're here tonight.
Thank you very much, Corinne. And if you want his prints, please just get in touch with me, and Corinne and I will sort it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, June. I think if you stop and listen, the sounds in the background will start filling your souls. And as I'm listening to the music, I'm thinking of my last journey with Manuel Masseka. I accompanied him alone on the flight to South Africa after 3 weeks in intensive care. And it was during those 3 weeks that he painted with his pencils and his croquis and his chalk these extraordinary paintings, drawings, which Corinne has so beautifully screen printed and framed. But I didn't think this tribute to Manuel would be complete without asking Chris Spring. Chris, could you come forward, please? Because Chris received Manuel when he arrived in South Africa and spent the first and only day of freedom that he had while he was here before he went into intensive care on the evening of his arrival. Chris, if you wouldn't mind saying a few words.
Yeah, it was it was extremely sad for me, but it was also one of the great times in my life, in a sense. You know, I met him at Heathrow Airport at the crack of dawn, and he was obviously very ill then. I didn't know how ill. We went from one doctor to another. We went to a little place in Covent Garden. We went to all sorts of places, and somebody said he needs to get to hospital very quickly. And so we all went up to the University College Hospital in Tottenham Court Road, and they took him immediately into intensive care. And everybody who came in touch with him, and many people did, there were a lot of doctors who were wondering what is wrong with him and so on. And he was talking in Kung San, in this wonderful language, with his two friends who were with me. And in a way, the whole hospital kind of fell in love with him. He never came to the British Museum. He never did what he was going to do, although his two friends did magnificently over those 2 weeks. And every evening after we'd done various performances and talks in the Africa galleries and in the South Africa landscape, we would go up to the hospital and we'd talk with Manuel there. And every evening, more and more people came, you know, and more people kind of fell in love with him. And he said when he got a little bit better, because he had some quite kind of serious operations straight away, he wanted to draw. So I'm an artist myself, and I thought I must give Manuel the best materials he needs. So I went to Cornelison's, and I got these wonderful Sennelier oil pastels. I took them up to the hospital, took one look, and he said, no, chuck them all in poison. And after a while, we discovered what he really did need. But then he began to draw, and he began to draw and draw and draw. And each time I went, his face was happier and happier and happier. And I looked at these drawings. Luckily, there was a South African guy there, Jacques Leroux, who could speak Afrikaans, so he communicated with Manuel, and Manuel communicated with me about drawings and not to eat bananas and to eat a certain thing, And it was just lovely, and I know John's just talked about him on that last journey back to South Africa, But it was a great privilege to have spent that time with him and with his friends. And actually it was a very great privilege last year, I think, to have made so many South African friends, and how to think, John was talking about the 25,000 people who came to Mandela Day. Many, many more than that came to the talks and the workshops that the other sign artists and Eugene and June, we all did in the British Museum. And South Africa came in a very moving way to the British Museum there. And that landscape became South Africa. And people who left South Africa during the Troubles and never come back until that moment, I met people in that landscape, who'd been there all day, and they said, I really feel that I've come home. And that's a little bit of what we were talking about in this group of ours. Anyway, I'm going on too much. I love the match. Thank you, and thanks, John, for letting me just say a little bit about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.